Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us this Tuesday night. First, Tasmania's borders are now closed to 3 states, with the whole of South Australia now in lockdown. For more, Meg Sides joins us. Meg, what happened in South Australia today?
Well, Kim, just minutes ago, South Australia went into lockdown, which will last for the next 7 days, with 5 cases linked to an outbreak of the Delta strain. In response, Tasmania has declared the whole state high risk this afternoon, essentially shutting our borders. Those who have been in that state since July 8 will have to wear masks in public for 14 days after their arrival. Meanwhile, Victoria has also today extended its lockdown, and mask restrictions in Tasmania for those who have returned from that state will continue until at least midnight on Friday. Now, it will also mean that Tasmanian students who have been in either state will have to stay away from schools for the rest of the week.
They are a very low risk, but obviously school environments are more difficult to manage, and therefore the government has taken the decision that students should stay away for this week.
Around 240 staff members and an estimated 1,000 students who have been in Victoria have so far been impacted by that decision. Numbers likely to rise now that South Australia has also been included. The Premier will provide an update on whether they will be able to return to schools next week on Friday. Kim.
Federal Labor leader Anthony Albanese has blasted the vaccine rollout, saying vulnerable Tasmanians are being left behind. The swipe at the Commonwealth coming as the leader continued his tour of the state's north, picking up some new skills from keen knitters.
It's not the sort of political spin he's used to. Anthony Albanese spent the day trading yarns with locals at the Deloraine House and Northern Suburbs Medical Centre, talking about what he deems
the issues that make a difference here in Bass and Braddon,
namely aged care, welfare and affordability of childcare. Albanese believes Labor can win back both the marginal seats, but his big focus is snapping out of our COVID slumber.
Vulnerable people were told they were at the front of the queue, and the truth is that they haven't been. They've been left behind.
There's been some dates that have been missed, and unfortunately that's been the supply and also the hesitancy around taking the vaccination by some people.
While the state is tracking better than the national average, just under half of Tasmanians living in NDIS care are still waiting for their first jab. A third of workers in the state haven't had one either. Staff at St Giles today finally receiving their first jab.
We're really excited about the number of staff that have taken up the vaccination. It's been great.
A relief for those who rely on the service.
We absolutely have some participants who are a little bit afraid of going out, especially when things flare up a little bit more on the mainland.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
A new report has slammed the Mount Wellington cable car proposal, recommending the Hobart City Council dump it. Experts found the project did not meet 21 different criteria in the 2013 Wellington Park Management Plan. The council received 16,000 submissions from the public, with 70% against approval, which opponents say leaves council with only one option.
It's certainly a resounding rejection of the development. It's difficult to see how any councillor from the Hobart City Council could find a way of voting in support of this development.
The developers have said they'll review the report but remain committed to the project and are looking forward to fronting the council before the final vote, which will be held next Tuesday. Police have confirmed the couple killed in a shocking crash on the Midland Highway yesterday was visiting from Victoria. The man and woman died when their sedan collided head-on with a truck while they were trying to overtake another vehicle just outside Campbelltown. Police are still in the process of formally identifying the victims. The double fatality takes the state's road toll to 20 compared to 18 at the same time last year. Tasmania Police has charged a teenager who allegedly stole a car before torching it. Neighbours in Kings Meadows reported hearing a loud bang just after midday and could only watch on as the vehicle exploded into flames. Firefighters quickly extinguished the blaze. Authorities apprehended the 18-year-old suspect a short time later. A Devonport man has been charged over a stabbing in the early hours of this morning. A 21-year-old suffered knife wounds to his chest and stomach after a fight broke out between the pair. A 22-year-old has been arrested. Police divers will be searching the Mersey River in the coming days, where it's believed the weapon was discarded. The conditions at Risdon Prison are the worst they've been in decades, according to unions. A meeting with the Corrections Minister is set for tomorrow, and correctional officers are demanding understaffing and health and safety risks within the facility be urgently addressed.
Tall concrete walls, hallways lined with cells. Tasmania's first purpose-built facility for those on remand now starting to take shape.
It will house approximately 156 remandees in 2 separate units.
The first expected to be completed by the end of the year, but there are concerns about what happens after the facility is built.
We don't have enough correctional officers to staff the facilities we currently have. The Risdon Prison was 21 officers short today.
Staff at Risdon Prison held a stop-work meeting yesterday following assault which left 4 workers in hospital last week.
I had people yesterday who had been in the prison system for 27 years saying this is the absolute low point. Now, we've had some dreadful crises in that prison over 27 years.
Risdon Prison has been a pressure cooker for years. That pressure cooker is now ready to explode. They've been forced into a position where they've got no choice but to walk off the job in order to have their voices heard.
Their biggest concern is understaffing, an ongoing problem that unions will call on the Minister to address in a meeting scheduled for tomorrow.
There are a few issues around the staffing of what's needed and what's agreed that's needed. I want to have those discussions with unions tomorrow.
The government says work is underway to recruit more officers, but questions have been raised about whether it's happening fast enough.
She has lost control of this prison system. It's crumbling now at her feet.
We are tackling those issues as fast as we can, but nobody can say that we haven't, as a government, invested in our prison service.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmanian News.
A convicted murderer's 32-year jail sentence appeal may be heard later this year. In May, Jack Harrison Vincent Sadler was found guilty of shooting and mutilating Jack Anderson Bretner in Launceston in 2018. His appeal is now expected to be heard in the Hobart Supreme Court in November. The 29-year-old is not appealing his conviction. The Tasmanian Fire Service has farewelled a much-loved volunteer of 66 years who passed away earlier this month. Officers stood to attention along Melville Street holding a guard of honour for 80-year-old Lindsay Sir. He became a volunteer in 1955 at the age of just 14, going on to become an integral member of the TFS as well as a mentor for many.
A highly regarded, well-respected gentleman to work with, one that had touched the lives, I think, of nearly every fire service member in some way across the state, and was just a pleasure and a delightful man to be with.
He remained an active member with the brigade over his lifetime. Tasmania is aiming to establish itself as a centre for space technologies. Hensoldt, UTAS and the state government have signed an MOU to develop a sovereign Australian space domain awareness capability.
Tasmania is unique in many different ways. The southern position allows a fantastic look at the southern sky and the tracks coming across, emanating from the poles.
Data from UTAS's 5 radio telescopes placed across Australia will be analysed at Hensoldt's new Hobart office. Tasmania's border closures have forced changes to the upcoming Devonport Jazz Festival. A number of interstate musical acts have been cancelled, with ticket holders to be offered a refund. But organisers say there are still plenty of local Tasmanian artists among the lineup, along with ARIA Award winner Katie Noonan. The annual celebration of all things jazz gets underway on Thursday. Officials are the largely unseen faces of Olympics, but 2 Tasmanians are heading over to Japan in that capacity. Minka Woolley and Brian Rowe have each officiated in the upper echelon of world sport many times before, but they admit this time will be very different.
Wearing the memories of Sydney, but firmly in the mind of Brian Rowe, is Tokyo.
It's number 8 that I've been at and the 7th that I've officiated at.
One of only 12 international technical athletics officials handpicked for the upcoming Games. We see these titans of the track at their best.
This is a famous victory, a magnificent performance.
He deals with them at their worst.
I have to adjudicate on any dispute between an athlete who's not happy with being given a false start.
The most famous American sprinter John Drummond's bizarre protest to the 2003 World Championships.
Not fair. I did not move.
I was one of the two people who eventually got him to move away by explaining the actual rules to him.
Brian's technical nous was first recognised in Seoul '88, but the 2021 edition looms as the most anticipated for so many reasons.
We're also very conscious that the experience for the athletes will be quite different with no crowd.
But he's not the only Tasmanian official heading to Japan. Devonport's Minka Woolley will also take part in her 5th Olympics as a manager of the international hockey umpires.
It's just something very, very special, and I know that this is going to be very different, but I'll certainly treasure it, that's for sure.
2 local faces with the best seat in the house to witness Olympic glory. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmanian News.
The RSPCA is set to respond to animals in need more quickly during emergencies thanks to a new mobile unit. The welfare group says the van will also be used for general pet care and even seizures of mistreated animals.
An emergency clinic on wheels. This state-of-the-art welfare unit set to save our beloved animals in times of crisis.
The object of it is to be able to come into emergency situations like fires, particularly in floods, and make sure that people are comfortable that their animals are going to be safe.
Designed to transport pets and livestock while offering animal care for locals unsure where to go.
We can provide them with emergency leads and cages. We can point them to where the evacuation centres are for animals. We know that if people don't think they can move their animals, they won't go.
Launched here today at Huonville, the site of terrifying bushfires in 2019, with the town setting up refuges to help feed and tend to local animals. The mobile clinic now predicted to be a lifesaver during the next emergency.
We've never experienced our animal in stress, but these guys do understand those stressful signs, and they are able to provide advice and guidance, which is what community members need.
The vet van also set to offer other RSPCA services statewide.
We can use it for things like microchipping days and outreach into communities where we need to talk about animal welfare. It can be used for us if we have mass seizures of animals with the inspectorate. Then this is a base station that we can use for that.
It's hoped the organisation will gain more emergency vehicles in the future. Ruby Kemain, 7 Tasmanian News.
The Tasmania Jack Jumpers have announced their first international import for the upcoming season, locking down high-flying American Josh Adams on a 1-year deal. The 27-year-old says he's not fazed by the pressure of being one of the club's marquee men and hopes to bring lots of energy on the court.
I'm a crowd pleaser. I love the fans. I love getting the fans excited, and I feed off that energy, and I think that the team as a whole will feed off that as well.
The guard has had stints in Russia, Spain and Italy, while also representing the United States at a national level. In Premier League hockey, Northwest graduates are breathing down the neck of second-placed OHA after stealing victory in the dying stages against Canterbury. A late goal denying Canterbury a golden chance to climb to 3rd on the ladder. In the women's, OHA slammed 5 past Diamondbacks, while Northwest grads were forced to share the points in their match after conceding a goal in the final minutes. Border closures and lockdowns mean only 4 states will compete in the 10-pin bowling national championships in Hobart. 5 events in both the junior and senior competition will run from now until the middle of next month. The players who are here still have high ambitions.
Hoping to take home gold in every event, hoping to win teams overall and then all my individuals as well.
The state government has committed almost $400,000 in funding for the event over the next 3 years.
Good evening. -1, the low overnight on Mount Wellington, while our top today was 13 at St Helens. Hobart and Burnie 9 degrees, Launceston had 12 and Devonport 11 today. Now as the wind swung around to the south, you could really feel that chill move across, couldn't you? Flinders Island, Low Head and Friendly Beaches all 12, King Island and Smithton 11, Grove, Bushy Park and Strawn 9 degrees, Lyawini a high of just 3. Now that front was quickly followed by a cold pool of air, snow dumped on the hills and Henty Canal registered 45 millimetres of rain tonight. 9 o'clock, while during the day Zian had 14 millimetres. That front and cold air field affecting the southeastern states. Another cloud mass is over Western Australia with high cloud reaching South Australia. Tomorrow the cold front weakens as the high drifts across the nation, and looking at that I reckon we can expect some fairly strong westerly winds tomorrow, up to 25 knots actually, and in fact up to 30 knots early over the south and the east coast. Swells to 4 metres. We have a strong wind warning tomorrow from the northern reaches of Flinders Island to Low Rocky Point. Now for tomorrow, 13 for Hobart with a possible shower, 40% possible, 12 degrees for Geeston and showery, Bothwell an afternoon shower and 10 the top. Launceston a high of 13 after -1 and a morning frost, partly cloudy for Devonport, 14 the high and 12 the top for Cressy. Burnie expecting 13 degrees with a shower or two, 13 also for Strawn and Curry on King Island with a showery day expected. Mostly sunny though for St Helens, 14 the maximum, 14 for Swansea, Orford, 13 degrees. On Thursday, partly cloudy for Hobart and the east, a light shower elsewhere. Showers for the north and central plateau on Friday, extending to the west coast, and looks like a showery start to the weekend, not so much over the southeast. Showers on the way for Perth, a cloudy 13 in Adelaide, a shower in Melbourne, windy but fine for Sydney along with Brisbane. Hobart, partly cloudy at the moment, Launceston is clear and clear in Devonport, a total of 21 at the moment, Kim.
We wish. Thank you very much, Merv.